Hi, y'all. My name is Joy. Welcome back to Joye-ful Living. I am so glad to have each one of you here watching. I know I have been a little bit late posting the last couple weeks with some sickness and travel, but best believe we are back on track for our June theme of the month. I think you guys are really going to like this one. I debated for a couple reasons, different words, but one of the words that came to me that I kind of did some research on was expansion. So this month's theme is all about expansion. And that can be kind of a wide word, but I want to zone in on it a little bit. And I want to give you different aspects of expanding one's life and what expansion looks like. And so this week, I'm pretty sure I'm going to name this week, Hot Bitches Are Creative. If you're a man and you want to be here too, that's totally fine. I mean, I just want to talk about creativity, but that title just grabbed me. That title's been on my sheet for the last 5 months, and I just had to do it. And we're going to talk about creativity today and how important it is to living a fulfilled life. Creativity makes you feel alive. So, the title, Hot Bitches Are Creative. What is that about? Hot people are creative. And no, I don't mean that they're all artists. I don't mean that they're dancers or painters, or that's not what I mean. I think one of the most attractive things about someone is their ability to create. That doesn't always have to be art. You know, it's creating something, whether it's a life, a lifestyle, whether it's hobbies, a business. It can be art, right? Experiences, memories, because creativity makes you feel alive. And I can speak on this a lot because in the background, I don't know if you can see it or not, is my degree. My degree is for dance because I actually went to school for dance. I grew up very creative. We'll get into that in a second. And also, I'm looking to my left because these are where my notes are. So I think we as a culture have creativity all wrong. The big thing I want to point out to us today is that people think that creativity is about talent and perfection. Like, you're only a dancer if you perform on stage. You're only an artist if you've sold art pieces, right? You're only a photographer if you have your work in a magazine. And I do, of course, think there's an importance to that, and that is definitely an art. But I don't believe that creativity is tied only to how good you are at something. Right? It doesn't matter how good you are at all, good or bad. I'm creative in some areas. In some areas I'm really good. Like, I could dance with my eyes closed. In some areas, like, I've got stick figures for art and weird flowers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all have our strengths, but just because I'm not as strong in drawing doesn't mean that I can't be creative in that area, right? So we think that creativity is reserved for artists, musicians, dancers, photographers, content creators, because yes, that is creativity, right? And there's this culture of having to be good at something before you're able to enjoy it, right? I can only be doing something if I'm good at it. Like, I, as a person, don't really like I've always said growing up, I like being the best at what I do. Like, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it well. I want to do it the best. And I think that has definitely gotten me far. It's definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone and challenged me to become better. But I also think in some areas it's capped my creativity because I don't like I don't like being new at something. I don't like starting over or like being a newbie. Like, I don't like being a beginner. It doesn't feel good because I like being right and I like being good at what I do, right? So I think we can have this idea that in order to enjoy something, we have to be good at it. Or it's like, oh, if I'm not doing that full time, if I'm not making money off of it, then I can't enjoy it, right? Like, I went to school for dance. I'm not doing dance in my 9 to 5 now. But I do dance weekly or bi-weekly. I dance regularly. I go to dance classes. I'm not monetizing that skill, but that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to enjoy it. You know what I mean? So somewhere along the way, we stopped creating for the joy of creating. Like, we stopped creating just for fun. And we started creating to be perfect. We started creating to make money. We started creating fill in the blank, right? And so my thing with creativity is you don't need to justify having fun. If you're really, really bad at stick figures or flowers or dancing, but you love doing it, go off. That's nobody's business. You know what I mean? So why are you holding yourself back from embracing your creative nature, right? Because we all are creative human beings. So like I spoke on a little bit, my life has always been creative. I started with choir in elementary school, right? In gymnastics, I was very active. I did the play The Music Man, or I guess it's a musical, The Music Man, when I was like 5. I was in that. I remember that, and I double checked with my mom. That was a real thing. That wasn't just something I hallucinated. Did choir throughout elementary and middle for about 5 years, and then I got into high school and I got into color guard. And color guard is basically rhythm, dance with props, like it's intense. And then I found dance senior year of high school, wanted to do that in college, and then while I was doing dance in college, I was also traveling and doing color guard professionally. I won world championships with the team that I was with the drum corps I was with. I was traveling the country all summer. I was learning intricate shows. And the coolest part about that is there were choreographers and designers that would design this whole show. They would create a world, and they would literally put you in it. And it was so fun to watch these people work. Like just the creative mind and talent of that art literally blows me away. Because I would see choreographers just like pull things out of thin air, get to be involved in that world, get to kind of put my own spin on it. So I was so blessed. I did that for 5 years. I did it with the best group for 4. And so I was so blessed to be able to watch these top performers, these top choreographers, these top creative minds literally build out of thin air. And so I got to have front row seat to that creativity. And I loved that. They created entire worlds from nothing. And then once I left that, once I graduated school, COVID hit right at the end of my schooling, and with leaving college, entering the 9-to-5, I started chasing money because I was tired of being broke. The starving artist lifestyle is very real. It can be very hard to monetize money It can be very hard to monetize art in this day and age and get paid well for it, right? So I was losing touch with my creativity, and honestly, I look back and I was feeling disconnected and depressed because my creativity was expression for me. It was expansive for me. It was challenging. Right? It was home to me, especially my dance. And so once I got my money under control and I wasn't missing money, I realized that I had kind of tipped the scales and I went all the way to the other side, and now I was missing creation and I was missing fulfillment. Like I wasn't really feeling fulfilled in my day-to-day. And that's kind of where I found creativity a little bit down the line. But in that space, the thing that happens and the thing that I see and the thing that I can get stuck in sometimes is consumption is replacing creation. So social media consumption is a big one, and I'm a big culprit of this. I get sucked in sometimes. It gives you instant dopamine, right? It gives you instant dopamine. You can consume all day long, very surface level, but as soon as that dopamine comes, it leaves just as fast. But what I've realized is that consumption doesn't fill us. It only entertains us temporarily. It suspends reality. And with creation, you need boredom. When you're constantly consuming content, when you're constantly consuming ideas, you do not have boredom. You don't have that creative space. I went to see the Michael movie recently, and it was so good. And there was a part where he's out in the pool. No spoilers. I'm not trying to spoil the movie, but when he's just like sitting around and kind of grooving in his head, and the boys are like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I'm waiting for the creator to give me an idea. I want to be there for it." So he doesn't pass it off to someone else. He was creating space for that music to come into his hemisphere. I just thought I loved that part in the movie because sometimes you think it's go, 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 go. Creativity is just creating. And it's not like that, right? You have to have stillness. You have to have space. And so when you stop creating, you can start relying on consumption. You can start relying on consumption for fulfillment. So the scrolling, the binge watching, the endless content versus we've got that at one side, and then we've got dancing, drawing, photography, music, right? Art, content creation, not consumption. So why does creativity expand your life? Creativity expands your life because every innovative idea started as a creative one, right? Innovation is creativity. Creating the phone I'm talking to you on, creating the microphone in front of me, the light bulb over here, the headphones that I have, right? Even this water bottle, this cooling design to keep it cold. That's innovation. You have to think outside of the box, right? Hold on. So innovation is creativity. And there's a couple things about creativity that creates expansion. Creativity challenges your brain. You have neural pathways that go all the way through your brain, and they're very important to your neural development. Whenever you're learning something new, you're creating those new neural pathways. Creativity is part of that. It also builds your confidence. So when you feel like you're doing something that you love, the more that you start to do that and the more that you start to be in your creativity, the more confident you are. Like for example, I was not really great with content creation, angles and such. I have a really good friend of mine who is like queen of that, and I've gotten to learn from her. And she gives me tips and tricks. I literally just sent her a video like 20 minutes ago. And I was like, hey, I'm going to post this tomorrow just to like show off because I've been learning. And she's like, okay, zoom in here, change this text size here, slow it down to 0.8 here, like all these little things. And so it builds your confidence. And so once I finally got it, I made a couple tweaks and she was like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, yes. Like, look at me go. I'm figuring it out. And I feel so proud about that. That's my creativity, right? It builds your confidence. It creates possibility. So I've gotten to watch this firsthand. I'm going to use this friend as an example. She's a content creator. She shares her life on social. She's open. She is traveling. She's living her best life. And I'm getting to watch her be consistent in her journey. And this creation, her dedication to her craft and dedication to creating has opened the door for all these opportunities. This PR that she's getting, people wanting to try, like have her test their products, getting percentages off for a resort. She just got, they were like, she just got a trip to Miami. A hotel like paid her to go out there and make some content. Just off of what she's doing, just off of her creativity, right? Just putting her creativity out there, right? So, you see it online and it can seem far away sometimes, but it's even cooler when it's people that you know. And it expands your worldview. So when you get creative, you get outside of this little four walls that you live in. I work from home, so sometimes it can get a little bit like, oh, I'm in a box. And I try to break that out by traveling. I just went to Miami this weekend. Me and my girl, we love Miami. Next week, hey, maybe, why not? Next time, it's going to be an international beach, right? Something. But it expands your worldview, and it helps you discover yourself. I learned so much about myself when I was dancing in school. When I was learning, creativity is so fulfilling. Like for me, an example for me, I feel expanded and challenged when I go to my weekly dance classes and my teacher is teaching at the speed of sound. He's always like, oh, it's not that fast. And he plays, he's like, oh, just kidding. And every single time, like every week, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get that. And then I just move through it and I end up doing it and feeling myself. And I'm like, oh, it's that repetition. It's like the more I do it, the more I feel expanded by that creativity, right? And this actually isn't just my opinion. Research shows that creativity And creative activities improve happiness, life satisfaction, they lower stress levels, and they improve your overall well-being. People who regularly engage in creative activities tend to report better mental health and greater fulfillment. Regularly engage in creative activities. I looked this up. I did my research. Even simple creative hobbies, dancing, crafting, music, any one of those things, writing, it can increase well-being. So I want to touch on this little part. Well, it's not a little part. It's kind of the whole deal. Creativity is also part of God's design. God is a creator. In fact, he is the creator, right? And the first thing we learn about him is that he creates. If you've read the Bible at all, it talks about him speaking the world into existence, and the animals and the wildlife, speaking it into existence. He created the world, and he created us in it. That is creativity. And we're going to go one step further. We were made in his image. It says that in the Bible. We were made in his image. Therefore, creativity is a part of our design. It says in Ephesians 2:10, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Which God prepared in advance for us to do. We were created to do good works, right? You don't have to be Picasso. You don't have to be Beyonce. You don't have to make money from your craft. You just simply have to create. God didn't give you gifts to monopolize off of them. He didn't give you gifts just to make money off of them. He gave you gifts so you could build with them, so you could connect with them, so you could create with them, right? Your creativity is maybe your compassion or your charisma or your ability to speak to a crowd or your ability with numbers or the way that you publicly speak or your writing. God gave us all different gifts, and I feel like they are unlocked through creativity. We're called to create. And so I challenge you, if you feel like you're lacking fulfillment or you're lacking expansion, like if you feel small right now, then I challenge you to start finding little ways to be creative, because those little ways are going to create bigger, expanded, they're going to create bigger expansion for you and more fulfillment. That's really what we're after, right? Wanting to be fulfilled as humans. That's the whole point. So I'm going to close with this. My final challenge for you: stop worrying about whether you're good at it. Stop worrying about if anybody's seeing it or if you can make any money from it. Instead, start asking, what makes me feel alive? Because that's the whole point, is to feel alive. People say you only live once. No, you only die once. You live every day. So make sure that you are living to your fullest potential. And I'm not telling you to quit your job and go be a hobo and go, try to live off your creativity. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, so don't take it the wrong way. I'm saying start unlocking your creative talents without the pressure of being perfect. Or even being good. Girl, be bad. Who cares? If you like karaoke and it fills your soul, do it. If you like to draw and it looks like somebody's hair caught on fire, it doesn't matter, it's not important. So I challenge you to do one creative thing this week. Whether it is a dance class, learning how to do photography or drawing, maybe it's a pottery class, maybe it's singing, right? A little karaoke like I was telling you. Maybe it's content creation or music. Whatever it is, that's great. It's perfect, because creativity isn't about being impressive, right? Creativity is about being alive. It's about being alive. That's the whole point. So, hot women, or hot bitches, are creative because creativity makes you feel alive. And isn't that the whole point of life? So I challenge you to start tapping into your creativity and watch the glow up. Watch the fulfillment. Thank you guys. This was, I think, a little bit of a shorter episode, maybe right on time, but I appreciate you all for joining me this week for Joye-ful Living. We will dive into this topic of expansion. I'm super excited for what's to come, so stay tuned, and I promise I will get back to my regularly scheduled Mondays, and I'm thankful that we all get to live joyfully, and we get to do it together. I'll see you guys next week.